Hey everybody, welcome to the PoddyC. This episode, we forgot to plug our merch for the whole episode until the very end, but then I remembered at the very end, and now I'm recording this afterwards, and we're going to put it at the front of the video, maybe. I don't know. It's up to Frank, but if you want to, buddy, I'm recording this for you. I know you're going to DM me otherwise and be like, hey, can you record a quick thing? But yeah, poddyc.com. You gotta buy some of our merch, poddyc.com, and yeah, all proceeds go to us, so that's a good cause. Thank you. Hey, welcome to episode 87 of the PoddyC. This week, Ian Hazacostas denies rumors of WoW coming to console, just confirming in my mind that WoW is definitely coming to console. They would never... them lying about it has made me 100% confident it must be what's happening. You guys agree?
That's right. He is 100% making it up. I mean, look, think about it. Why else would they be killing our game? Why else would they be dumbing down the game and deleting add-ons and, doing all these
That's right.
horrible things that we've wanted in the game for the longest time?
The deletion of add-ons,
because they want to bring it's for console.
That order
100%.
came down from the very top, from Bill Gates himself. He was like, all right, get those add-ons out of here. We gotta put this on the Xbox.
I know people are really upset about the add-on stuff. I'm not happy about some of it. But why do they want the reason that all of this is happening to be because WoW is going to console specifically so bad? Like when the news came out, which the news was I believe the only way to look at it is the new Xbox is just basically going to be like a little PC.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's the entire end of the information. And then people are just like, nope, it's WoW. They're making it. Microsoft owns Blizzard. Blizzard is making WoW for their new Xbox. Ian does an interview. We're not doing that. That's what he says. We're not doing that. That hasn't been the thing. Why? And then he's even like, why would we lie? If we were doing that, we would announce it'd be a good thing. We'd be happy about it. We'd be trying to bring people into the fold. And then people are like, well, he's making that up. He's lying. He has to. Mr. Microsoft told him to lie, which is a lot of like, I know conspiracy theories are a thing, but like, I just don't know why specifically in people's mind, there has to be incentive or motive, right? Like people really want it to be true. That's like a thing with conspiracies, right? Like if there's not a lot of evidence leading to something being true, but people keep saying it's a thing, that means there's some reason for them. It benefits them for it to be true. Why does it benefit anyone for it to be true that the conspiracy of it being made for console is real?
Because if you're somebody... Okay, Dorki, you take your theory.
So it's mixed, right? Yeah, so first of all, it buys in so well with the conspiracy. For one, they had one button rotation release, right? Okay, like that's like somewhat of a red flag, but not really, right? Like we're not completely sold on it. Mm-hmm. So it starts with the one button rotation, then it goes on to the game being simplified. Like, wait, what? Why would they simplify the game, right? Like, why would they prune the game? And then the add-ons are getting removed. And then the Xbox thing is happening. So it's like 4 points draw to a line, and that line kind of draws to Ion lying his fucking ass off, and that they're actually coming out with console World of Warcraft. And people fucking hate consoles or console players, like whichever one, right? Like I've seen it myself. I've seen so many comments in various streams and Reddit and like, wherever social media where a bunch of people are like, oh, I'm not doing a fucking key with a filthy console player. Because like in their minds, a console player, the only thing that's possibly worse than them is a mobile player, someone who plays mobile games. Because like the idea that you have to play with some simpleton in a M+ or raid scenario just fucking sucks, right? And they want to use this as a way to be like, all right, Blizzard got acquired by Microsoft, and because they're under Microsoft now, they're trying to make money, right? Like what matters more than money? So obviously the conclusion is they're trying to ruin the game for that we love for money for the console players. That's the whole conspiracy.
I think there's another possible angle for this, where if you're somebody who thinks that removing add-ons from the game is clearly going to make it worse and is like only a bad thing, and then you're like, why is Blizzard committing to doing this, right? Like, why would they do this? It's not to make the game better. I know it's not going to make the game better. It must be because they're getting it ready to go on console. That would make sense, right? Then all of it would make sense. Yeah. I think that might be
because all these changes sound really bad.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you think all those changes are just definitely bad, right? And you kind of don't really accept any of the arguments for why they might be good, or at least something that people would want, some people would want, then the console thing kind of bails you out from having to, grapple with the fact that a lot of people disagree with you on that.
Okay, I believe you, and I think you're right. But if I could throw in a counterpoint from what you and Dorki are saying, it sounds like a lot of people that are mad are not like the majority of WoW players, like casual players, because most casual people are totally cool to console because they're casual, right? It's like high end elitist PC gamers that look down on console players like they're a different breed or something, and like they don't want anything to do with that, even though like you're already around them all the time. Like the literal ideal Diablo player is probably what you would consider a console player, right? Like they're in the Blizzard universe already. Okay, so they're high end players that are mad and in with the conspiracy. So the conspiracy that there's no other reason it has to be for console. One thing that I am a little off on that is if you're part of like the competitive WoW subreddit, if you play this game with a lot of add-ons, wouldn't you have your boots close enough to the ground to actually be able to identify that there's a big reason that even if you're not a returning player, if you're a current player in WoW, you can see the reason why they would make all these changes because you see the negative impact all around you all the time because you interact with it?
Okay, imagine you're somebody who has spent 1,000 hours pugging this season to get from, +8 keys up to +14 keys. And a large part of what made that possible for you was increasingly improving your like add-on suite to better do content. Maybe you're, really unhappy in that case, or because for you, like, it's like I spent a lot of time, the add-ons. You haven't necessarily gotten a lot better from when you started, although you probably have, but like a big part of how you've gotten better has been discovering and then using the add-ons well.
I think a counterpoint to that too, though, is the opposite, where I think having weak auras or add-ons give information to you is a really important skill. We've talked about this recently, and it's a really hard skill that not a lot of people utilize. You just like download a pack and it's not really doing a lot for you. There are a lot of people that I think the game's going to be just appear to be very different, but I think most people have not optimized that kind of information flow very well for themselves, and the game is going to feel basically exactly the same because you had all this shit on your UI, but it wasn't really doing anything.
Yeah, I wonder how many people, that like weak aura pack that goes around every new raid where it just has every single ability that every boss does, and it just puts all of them on like a square thing, and they just all look exactly the same, right?
Yeah.
And like the most important ability and the least important ability just look exactly identical. I bet there are people right now that are like, I need this weak aura pack to function, and it's like, once
and it's
that
doing nothing for
once
them.
that goes away, they're gonna actually improve relative to the people that weren't using it, right? Because like they were tricking themselves into thinking that was something that mattered. Yeah, I don't know. It's a very interesting like psychology thing going on with it for sure.
I'd say going back to your point, Max, I don't think a lot of people that play at the high level, or maybe not even like high level, because like honestly, a lot of the people that chat around like competitive WoW Reddits or like our streams and stuff, they're like, I want to say the 80% to 90%.
Right?
Yeah. They're like not the top players, but they're also not like bad players at all. Like they're like your cutting edge players. They're like your close to getting title, if not title players. And a lot of people just simply don't realize the problems in the game. In fact, it might not even be a problem to them because, like, they haven't reached that point where it becomes a problem, or they just are unaware of what these weak auras do to the game, or like how much the button bloat adds to the game. Where we're playing this game and we're dealing with like these insane, because like a lot of people just like realize like, oh, why do we require 50 billion CC chains in Priory of the Sacred Flame? Well, I don't know. I mean, Blizzard just designs it that way, except they also don't see the bigger picture of, because we have all these tools that we're able to do these types of pulls, and we're putting ourselves in these situations. Like imagine if we were playing Fellowship, like I don't know, that's a bit of a tangent because Fellowship and WoW, whatever. But like when we're playing Fellowship, like we're only worried about a couple of things happening at a time because we only have so many tools. Like we have very limited options. Obviously, if we had all these options, then we'd be going so much crazier and we'd be trying to do even crazier polls. But we just don't have those options, and people just don't see that picture.
I also think one of the benefits of them doing a lot of this pruning is something that you cannot see until it changes, because like what you've heard is there was actually a tweet recently from someone who not recently, it's like a couple weeks ago, was someone who like at one point worked on encounter design and WoW, no longer works at Blizzard, and their tweet was basically like, yeah, I worked in encounter design briefly, and I can tell you that the add-on arms race like absolutely affects boss design at every level, because you start designing something and then someone bumps you on the shoulder and is like, hey, Are they just going to solve that with a weak ore? And you're like, okay, I guess I'll just make it different, right? And you just have to completely. So like, I guess one thing is for everyone who plays the game, even at a very high level, you're already used to add-ons, whatever. Boss design should be, from what it sounds like, significantly better because there's just so many more options they can cook with on bosses that they were avoiding and never even starting the conversation on because they just felt like the interaction between the player and the boss would have been bad because of the solution being a weak aura, right? So I think that's something that, I think we recognize that, but I think a lot of people, but it's also hard to trust it too. So
Right.
Like, let's just say, okay, boss design is going to be significantly better. Cool. Like, what happens if it's the same?
Exactly. I think there are a lot of people that like the benefit of the add-on removal is what it lets Blizzard. That's the biggest thing that we get out of add-on removal is it lets us do these fun versions of fights that previously would not have been fun fights for them to make. But we don't get to see that from the list of features being removed from add-ons, right? We'd see that from actually doing one of the new boss fights in the new raid. And there's definitely a chance that, they're going to grief it a little bit, especially the first tier, and not get that upside, at least not right away. So, but I do think that is definitely the biggest dub if you're like a high-end player is going to be dungeon design and raid design getting more fun because they don't have to design around the add-ons anymore.
It's also these players can only see what has existed,
Right.
which is basically classic WoW and retail. And they don't want to play classic WoW. So in their minds, oh, the game is being dumbed down, therefore we're playing classic WoW. It's like black and white. They don't see the in between of like, maybe it's just gone a little bit too far. Maybe we need to bring it back to like maybe like Legion or BFA or Shadowlands. Like we're not saying the game needs to go to fucking classic or even like Cataclysm. We're just trying to make the game not, and like at some point the pruning is gonna have to happen. Like it's inevitable. You can't just keep piling on whatever it may be, systems or skills or talent trees.
Yeah, I do think that the like button bloat side of things, I think that's like you don't have to be a rocket scientist to see that is something that WoW struggles with. I think that's a very common like take from anybody who's touched it is like, wow, that's a lot of buttons. I literally need to design my mouse to have extra buttons to be able to play this game. Which yeah.
Yeah, so wait, touching on the console thing one last time is console, I mean, people don't realize the capabilities of controller players or console players. Like literally Final Fantasy 14 is designed around console, and you have players that do ultimate raids with console. So the whole idea that like that if you play on a console, you're basically a drooling idiot that can only do like LFR and shit is just completely false.
Yeah, I don't think. Okay, I could be wrong. I'm not speaking for these people, but I think it's like the assumption of the kind of gamer not thinking that there aren't extremities that make it possible. Like you could tell them, hey, you could do ultimates with controller. You could compete in the race to world first with controller, which I think is very rare actually in that game, but does exist. Almost everyone is on PC. But let's just someone with a rebuttal from one of them would be, yeah, okay, but 99% of them are dog shit and they're more likely to be really bad, and sometimes randomly there's a really good player, but I don't want them in my game. Like it's not gonna change their opinion, right?
Yeah, it reminds me a bit of like, oh, you don't need add-ons to play at a high end. Trill doesn't use add-ons or whatever. It's like, okay, there's one person who still does use a lot of the weak cores, right? But like has a lot more of the basic UI, right?
Yeah, and I can tell you a personal anecdote from that. It was like for years it was like scratching nails on a chalkboard to get him to use weak auras that we were using for bosses, and they all made him significantly better.
Exactly.
like he hated doing it, and then it's like, yeah, this is OP.
Yeah.
So he would use it, right? So like even the biggest detractor is gaining a lot of value.
But I think like I don't think a lot of people are planning to like mythic raid on controller if because you can play a controller on WoW already. There's add-ons or whatever you can use.
You can play WoW on Steam Deck.
Yeah, you could do it. You could, right? And like, if I were to do that, I would be like logging in and doing my dailies or whatever, right? I'd go farm, Invincible or whatever on my controller or whatever if I'm on vacation and I want to do something on WoW or something like that. That's the use case I think for a high-end player of anytime something like that comes. Like that's Path of Exile, for instance, has controller support, and if I'm somewhere with my laptop, I'll play on my controller, and I don't do all of the same stuff, but you could do a lot of stuff. So I think that's the main thing. Like if you're using a controller, I do think Mythic rating on it will be very rare, but doing everything else, why not? But again, it's not coming to console in any more way than it kind of already is, right? Where you can just
Nah, it's coming for sure.
Dude, I actually was
He's
really upset
lying.
about that. I had a tweet that I was really happy with. And can you help me, Dratnos? I don't know if you saw it or can help me decipher like how it got lost in translation, but I thought it was even 2 on the nose, and then no one got it.
Okay.
It was I knew it, man. I had a feeling they were making those Microsoft Excel changes for the transition to console. And I was like looking to wake up in the morning with a bunch of people like either laughing or maybe mad because they're like, it is coming to console and they knew it the whole time, whatever. And there's like one comment that is 1,000 likes. There's one comment that like acknowledges it's a funny joke, and the rest of them are just like, bro, you didn't read the article. It's not actually coming to console, dude. It's a computer. The new Xbox is a computer. I'm like, yeah, that's really like, I feel like it's so obvious that I know that, but I don't know what happened. What did I do wrong?
I don't know. I think that there's like 2 levels of you have to like translate it twice in your brain to get from the initial sentence to the joke, right? Of like, oh, why is it Microsoft Excel? Oh, because that's any program on a computer coming to console. Oh, I think that's one step
if you just
too
replace
many.
Microsoft Excel with World of Warcraft, it's exactly what people were typing, right? So it's just, I feel like it was maybe
It kind of requires some thinking.
I think it does
That's
require a
probably
little
the
bit too
problem.
much thinking. I also think that Microsoft Excel is like there's a generation that's grown up using ChatGPT instead of that now. It's outdated tech.
Thing.
Yeah. Or Google Sheets even is the bridge between those 2 eras. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was a good tweet, but alas.
It was a good tweet.
Yeah. It got 1,000 likes. It's not too bad, but is what it is.
You take those.
Okay, you guys seen there's a new currency. It's here. The Heartsteel.
Classic Blizzard.
That's right. Blizzard.
So what is
It's basically you just buy a bunch of it. You can buy, Heartsteel and then use it to buy housing stuff that is from a.
It's basically those diamonds you buy in those gacha games, and it's like, like you buy these emerald diamonds, and
yeah,
and then you can use that to buy
so they've
for furniture.
There's a list of tactics that like those games will use where they'll have a bundle of 600 currency and then the thing costs 700 or whatever, so you have to buy 2 to get it, and then there's like obscure exchange rates and bonus value you get from buying more. Blizzard made a post where they sort of disavowed. They're like, look, we don't want to do any of those things.
That's bullshit, man.
Yeah, I think a lot of people's response is that
we should pull it up.
I'll pull up the list of the things they've said they were going to do with it. So
basically they're just monetizing housing.
Yeah, so there's going to be, and there's always been from the start. They've said, yeah, we're going to sell some stuff, right? In housing.
Yeah.
But yeah, let me pull up the.
Yeah, it's just extra bad because, like, for one, they're adding this new currency, which like it is pretty bad practice.
So
it's like actually so much better if it's just straight up you could just purchase from the store, but
yeah,
obviously this is like so much worse.
Well, you can't purchase it from the store.
Well, you have to turn your money into Heartsteel before you can buy houses. Like you have to go through that step. Now, the things they've disavowed doing are costs are clearly defined. The ratios of Heartsteel to real money are fixed and easily understood at a glance. So it's fixed, so there's not like a bonus Heartsteel for more money, type thing. You should be able to obtain any amount that makes sense for any purchase you want to make. The costs are designed to align with Heartsteel offer amounts in a player-friendly way. Buying Heartsteel at the amount you want lets you purchase the items you want without requiring you to think about which packs should be added together to minimize
I don't
leftovers.
fucking believe this shit at all, man. Like, if we're talking about Ion lying, this is a fucking lie, man.
So basically you have to think that they're lying on this to think that they're going to do the most predatory set of things that like gacha games will do with gemstones or whatever you buy in each of those games. The reason they've stated for doing this is just that you have to do a step of like verification anytime people spend money. So if I want to buy a chair and it costs 99 cents and I buy it with 99 cents, they have to, do payment processing fees and then also verify your identity and do the whole like identity check thing because it's taking real money. But if instead you buy $10 worth of Heartsteel, you can then use all that Heartsteel without each of those checks from then on. So that's their stated reason. one thing that they don't address, and a big reason that these sorts of currencies make money even without doing the predatory practices, is that it just removes a barrier to buying stuff, right? You're no longer using it with money, right? You've already bought the Hearthsteel. Now using the Hearthsteel is fun. It doesn't feel like you're using your wallet. So there is some psychological, like, whether you call that predatory or not, that is clearly something that this will do, and they don't really address that here. But there are a lot of these other, I think, explicitly predatory tactics that they are saying they're not going to do. Of course, Dorki and many others in the community are very skeptical of that, and I think that Blizzard will have to. The first time they break any of these promises, I think there's going to be a lot of people referencing this post.
Something would lend me to believe that they probably aren't going to do that, because it would just look so unbelievably fucking bad if they did, after, because they don't have to come out and say, hey, now I know you guys are going to say this, but we're not doing it, because they can just release this. People will say and quote tweet it and be like, they're going to fucking do this. This is terrible. And then they never respond, and it just goes away. Right. But them getting out in front of it, I feel like kind of only sets them up to get extremely windmill dunked if they do it. So I would lead towards.
Yeah, there is.
Like, I can understand the skepticism, though.
And there is a pathway where you sort of do the frog in boiling water thing with this, where you for the first year, you follow all of this. And then a year in, you do a little break of the rule just once.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the Christmas bundle. We'll do a really good deal for the Christmas bundle.
It's Christmas.
Then like, oh, there's one item that was badly priced and it happened to be over the threshold of the amount you could easily buy, like, oopsie, right? And then it's sort of, you could we could have a slippery slope happen. That if I was an evil genius trying to min max the extraction of money from WoW players, that would be how I would do it after making this post. But to be honest, I wouldn't make this post if I was planning to do that. I would do it from the start, and I wouldn't make this post. So
the fact that they made this post is kind of telling. I mean, I'm pretty sure a large part of it is just to like save their asses in case like anything happens in the future. Because it's like, why are they making a post about why we have the virtual currency? Like, it's like, clearly there's a good reason why they have the virtual currency.
There is inherently going to be backlash from
except
doing this,
it doesn't even help them, because it's just full of shit. Like, I don't believe the shit at all. I've seen Blizzard's bullshit ass fucking tactics for a long time now, and I mean, like, look, I'm like super against bad monetization, right? Like, it's been my biggest vendetta for the longest time, except I've kind of like stopped giving a shit, because that's just like how it is, and it is what it is. I've accepted the fact that we're playing this fucking game, we have to buy a sub, and we have to buy delayed access, and we have to pay a monthly sub, and we have to buy fucking gold without tokens, and we have to buy a $90 Brutosaur just to get a mailbox and a fucking auction house, and we now have this bullshit too. So I don't know, it just feels so fucking greedy that like there's a limit to it. The way I see it is like, out of all those, you can only have like 2 of them at a time, and I think that's like okay. Like, you can have like a box price and a sub, sure, like that's fine. Or you can have like some monetization, like you can buy skins and you can buy the game, or maybe they'll have like fucking, you can buy gold and you can buy cosmetics, sure, but like they just fucking go all out. Like, you can literally buy everything here. It's just a little bit too far, in my opinion.
So, and it's not like you can buy all housing items with money, right? It's the thing they say is the vast majority of housing items, are and will continue to be earnable in game. Only a small fraction is available for purchase from the shop. Comparing this number against collectibles such as mounts is a good metric here, with more than 1,000 mounts earnable in game and only a few dozen from the shop. So
yeah, and the best ones you'll get are from the shop.
That's true. Like, I think the comparison with mounts is a little scary, because the Brutosaur is, I think, a good example. But on the other hand, the game does have several mounts that cost like 1 million or 2 million gold. And that is, gold and VNet balance are directly, fungible, right?
Correct,
you can turn your gold into VNet balance.
Yeah, like if anything, it should be like you get it from killing a certain boss, right? Like killing the Nemesis boss. Like, but wow, that'd be cool. Except obviously, they're not going to add it to the Nemesis boss when we can put it in the cash shop instead.
Well, I'm pretty sure there is decor for that already in, but
yeah, there is. I'm saying like they could add like something like that.
But I'm going to make up in my head that they're going to not do that,
like
and then I'm going to get mad about it.
Yeah, of course, because like like whenever they ever going to add something tangible to a mount in,
I think it's most likely going to be exactly
outside of the fucking
like mounts
store.
So I think the utility thing. First of all, I think that would really suck if there's if you could buy like an auction house decor piece from this and only from this, that would suck.
They will eventually. I can see it.
Yeah, I mean, they did it with mounts, so it's definitely a fear here. But if you look at mounts, it's like, what are the coolest mounts in your mount rotation? For me, what, like almost all are in-game ones, right? Like the mythic mounts and stuff like that, right? Rather than any of the store mounts, which I suspect that that's what the housing store items are going to be. Is they'll be like themed ones around, like a celestial set of decor or whatever. That's kind of a little bit tangential to WoW, right? A little bit
Yeah.
to the side of it, and they'll look cool. They'll probably have like extra work put into them, but I don't think you'll
Special
feel
effects and stuff.
I think that I think the thing for Blizzard is housing is a selling point for Midnight. If housing sucks unless you pay extra money, Midnight's going to do less well, right? Like they have a monetary incentive to not be lying about this. To like that's what you do with like a free to play game, right? Is you do like a little rug pull where you make a cool system, you get everybody hyped about it, right? And then you're like, and it's all costs a bunch of money. But like you said, WoW has a monthly sub. The housing is going to be drawing a lot of people in, and I think if those people get kind of like bitten by like, and all the cool stuff costs money, Blizzard will actually lose money because they won't pay. A lot of those people will leave and not pay the sub.
I would say that's generally the case, except I feel like that's not true with Blizzard because of how many diehard fans Blizzard has.
Yeah,
like Blizzard has gotten to the point where they can get away with fucking murder. They can like legit kill someone on the streets, just like blow them up, and it doesn't even matter. Like people will just be like, yeah, we love Blizzard. Yeah, we're gonna continue playing the game. Like you guys think I'm joking, but I swear, like people just like don't give a shit anymore. Like it doesn't matter. Like the whole Shadowlands bullshit that happens, and like the Brutosaur thing, and it's like it's gotten to the point where like Blizzard has like pushed their borders to the very limits, and I mean it's at the point where like I don't think anyone really even gives a shit anymore. I mean, like I personally don't give a shit, right? Like I'm sure plenty of people also don't give a shit. Like I say all this shit, but I genuinely don't care anymore, especially with WoW.
You're very passionate for somebody who doesn't care anymore.
Yeah.
Well, because I used to be very against monetization. Like I used to play a lot of Korean MMOs.
Yeah.
So like I see it all. Like I understand where it comes from, except like, it's at the point where I just stop giving a shit, especially when it comes to WoW.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, of course, I don't like predatory monetization either. I think there's definitely some risk of that here. I think most of that risk comes from them lying in this post if that's what they're doing here, right? Like if this post is all true, then I think that's obviously you could make the argument, oh, I'm paying for the game, every feature should be free, but given that that's not the world we live in, I think
it's hard to tell as a consumer like how like for example, everyone wants you like your game, you want your good game you play to continue. That game needs to like support itself. I don't know how much it costs to run WoW, right? And with Microsoft acquiring them, you'd certainly be right to be skeptical, like, oh, they fired a bunch of these people. Well, they're probably trying to improve profit margins. You as the consumer are probably, the more profit someone's making, rather than just supporting the product you love, you're like, I don't know about that. Maybe you should throw more money into the thing that I like. There's a good YouTube video from this guy, working on games for a long time, seems really smart. I don't remember his name, but he basically made the point of like video games have basically cost, I think they're $80 now, but by the time this video was made a couple of years ago, it's like they were still $60, and they've been $60 since like the year 2000 basically. But the cost to create a game has increased by like over 10 times. So like naturally they're going to have to find more ways to make money to make this sustainable and keep doing this stuff. But you just never actually know whether they're doing this to sustain or whether they are doing it to, fill shareholders' pockets, which pretty much anyone who plays the game is like, I don't care about that at all, right? Like that just sucks. But who knows? This one in particular isn't surprised. Like I don't know. Did they post about this ahead of time?
They've said from the start.
Yeah, sort of. They were low key about it. Yeah, but
yeah,
it was
they didn't
mentioned before.
Go into details about it early on, but they did say from the start that some stuff would be purchasable and the majority would be earnable.
Do we know if like when they hired the people who did housing, they hired some like developers from a different game, and I think I heard someone in my stream make up that
Is that true?
studio's entire job was to make housing. But that just could be totally.
I think that's the
up.
Boston people. So I went to the like housing early access thing they did in Boston after PAX, and I think that studio was they used to be, I think Proletariat Games I think was the studio,
mm-hmm.
And at least the people there I think were all working on housing.
Okay, so like they probably, when they were like, okay, we're going to pick these people up, we're going to have them do housing. Okay, how are we going to recoup the investment from buying this studio? And it's like, okay, well, we have to monetize the thing that they're working on, right? Is probably like the
Yeah,
thought process where that came from.
I think a reasonable argument if you're anti this is you're like, hey, having new features every expansion for a game I pay monthly for and buy the expansions of, that's already how you're getting the cost back, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's not like anybody came in and was like, hey, your artifacts reach level 5. To reach level 6 now, you're going to need to unlock it with artifact steal, right? And when that was an expansion feature in Legion, even though it also was a big amount of work. I do think housing is a little bit different because it's clearly like a monumental amount of work that's being put in. In previous expansions, when people talk about housing, it's like, would you give up a raid tier for this? And now they're doing it in such a way where we're not giving up a raid tier. So, if you could go in time machine, go 2 years back when they first were deciding to make housing, or however long ago, and Blizzard basically offered you like, hey, we can put housing into the game or not put housing into the game. If we do put housing into the game, we'll fund it by doing some microtransactions in it. Which of those pathways is more player friendly? I think if they're telling the truth in this post, even if you're somebody who's not going to buy any of the cash shop ones, I think housing is still sick. Like, just the set of default decor that's already in is an incredible amount of customization. And it's like there's ones from all the old achievements and all this kind of stuff, and all the assets they've the people that were at the place that I went to in Boston where they were doing this stuff were like, they were systematizing putting all of the old assets from the early levels of the early expansions of WoW, so that they could all become decor easily. So they have like an infinite library to do this with, and all of that stuff, right? Here's it. Housing items that already exist in Azeroth won't be sold in the shop, right? Thematically important decor that players know and love will also not appear in the shop. Like, just that set of things is the set of a great feature. It's the foundation of a great feature, right? Doing a cash shop on top of that, given if it funds that, and this is like, above and beyond a normal expansion feature, if you think it is, I think it's a reasonable place to be. I don't know. I tend to be in favor.
I think it's normally reasonable, but I just completely don't.
Yeah,
agree
I agree. If you think they're lying, if you think that this post is full of lies, then I agree we're in for a bad time here. Like, this is gonna suck.
Well, but not just that, right? So, like, first of all, what Max was saying, how like, the games have gone on price, they're like $80 now. You know what I was thinking the entire time? The Brutosaur that we bought was $90 fucking dollars.
Yeah.
This one stupid mount in a game costs more than any video game out there. I mean, not any video, but like imagine Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out and it's cheaper than the fucking Brutosaur mount. Like, that is fucking ridiculous. So, I mean, the fact that Blizzard has like all these monetizations leads me to believe that there's like no possible way they're doing this for any other reason than greed, right? Because like normally I would agree, like, yeah, they need to make some money, right? Like, we do need to support the devs. In fact, I would say that's like very true for Fellowship. I feel like Fellowship doesn't have enough monetization. The game literally just has like a box price. Yeah, like, what the fuck are those guys do? I was of the opinion that they need to increase their monetization, just like, because like, how I was saying how they need at least like 2 of the 4 or however many I mentioned. Yeah. They literally only have a box price. I mean, like, they have cosmetics
packs,
too,
right?
like,
but yeah, it's not.
No, nobody's gonna buy that shit.
Yeah.
It's not a very appealing.
Well, yeah, but you're like trying to show support.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, like we're trying. Yeah, but like people aren't normally gonna be out there supporting that shit. Like, if it was like Marvel Rivals and they had like really nice skins to look at and they can purchase for a lot of money, I can see that being like a good monetization, or if it's like League of Legends or whatever. But the game just like doesn't have a whole lot of monetization, so I feel like that game could use something like maybe like a battle pass or something for seasons. But like World of Warcraft, they already have a fucking box price, pre-order. We can talk about how many subs they have later on, but they're making literally like over $1 billion a year from just subscriptions, on top of just like all this shit. Like, I'm pretty sure the Brutosaur itself paid off for the entire Proletariat Games, fucking the Spellbreaks studio, right? And I mean, that alone is kind of ridiculous. Like, how much did the Brutosaur make? Like, over 15 billion is what
I'm
you
actually
said?
not as offended by the Brutosaur thing, because I mean, you simply don't need that. It's just amount, right?
Not every WoW player has bought the Brutosaur, I promise you.
Like, comparing that to the cost of like an entire game kind of makes sense. But I do, most of this, by the way, I'm just playing devil's advocate. I agree with you. On the especially the expansion, the early expansion shit. I think is actually so
that
bad.
one is that's my least favorite one.
Bad. Yeah. I don't know.
Well, I need to take off my shirt real quick. I'm getting heated.
crazy calm. Holy moly. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, so here's some other news that's this week. Ghostcrawler, you guys remember Ghostcrawler? WoW guy from back in
Yeah.
Yeah, the crab.
Yeah, the crab.
Worked at League of Legends after.
Went to League of Legends after, and then went on to make his own studio, to make his own MMO. They got funding,
Yeah.
and that's all gone now. And that MMO is, the future is very uncertain for it. They're like going back down to turbo small indie studio at the end of or in the middle of the month or something, and they're trying to get funding, but it's looking grim, right? New World just got shut down as well, run by Amazon, one of the world's biggest companies, right?
Oh yeah, they got money. Those sponsor deals they throw out are crazy. If you get an Amazon offer, bro, goddamn.
Yeah,
that gets crazy.
So
wasn't it right after an expansion? For New World.
Not
too?
only right after an expansion that everybody was like, "Holy moly, this game is good now!" Just immediately killed it.
Yeah, that's the irony,
which is tough. But the point I'm making is, MMOs are pretty clearly like a very fragile, business model, right? Making a new one is crazy hard because you need to like stick the landing on. It needs to release good, basically, because if it's bad when it releases, that sucks.
It needs to release good, and you need to have a bunch of stuff in the chamber to like have ready for future patches. It takes longer to create than most other games, all into the fact that you're looking to get people to do a sub model, most likely like a subscription, and also if it's just not better than the MMOs people are already playing, it's just gonna die. And then it's
right.
It's like other games are successful. If you play Call of Duty for 3 weeks on average, like that's a successful game launch. Like if you do that with an MMO, it dies. So like it's just insane.
Which I don't want to use that to defend Blizzard doing predatory monetization, because clearly WoW is
different topic.
WoW is like stable, in a way that those games weren't. Yeah. But I do think it highlights like MMO monetization is kind of like making an MMO that makes money is clearly very hard. The only thing that companies seem to be able to consistently do is make one that sort of makes an okay amount of money and then put it into maintenance mode and milk it for a bit longer and then, recoup some of the costs. But nobody's really been able to replicate the, WoW or even Final Fantasy levels of MMO success. At least the percentage that have done well, even grading on a curve, has been alarmingly small over the past 10 or 15 years. So I don't know. I don't really have a big point.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
just pour one out for the Ghostcrawler game and for the New World. Sad days.
I mean, that's like every MMO's dream, is to just like become like WoW or Final Fantasy, where you have like a diehard fan base and you just milk the fuck out of them, and you're just good for life.
Is it possible that will never happen again though? Like I feel like that time in like it's possible we look back 20 years from now and that time in gaming where MMOs thrived, there is that player base and they're never going away, but also new people aren't coming in, and it's just like eventually gonna, there's not a lot of new ones being made, and it's just.
I think the market is there. It just needs to capture the lightning in the bottle. Like New World and Lost Ark on launch, they had millions of players wanting to play the game. So like clearly the market is there, and there are a lot of players that like really, really, really want this, but it's just really hard for it to deliver. I think that's where it fails.
Yeah, the Riot MMO is still, chugging along potentially, although it's also had a lot of setbacks. They had to like they tweeted about delaying it or putting it into like back into like stealth mode, right? Because like it seemed for a while like it was sort of near future, and now it's away.
They do this at Riot. When they're making a game, they'll like hire a design lead and some people, and they'll work on like this version of a game for a year, and then they'll have some meetings about it. The time frame can vary a little bit. And then they're like, okay, does this game like accomplish? Does it vary from other things in the market? Are you trying to do something new? Are you passionate about it? Yes. If it like doesn't pass those things and get greenlit to create it as a full game, it gets killed, but it's not dead forever. They literally just start over. They completely start that process over until they get to a point where they're like, they can see the vision, and then they hire a ton of people. And then they create the game, but it starts as a very small thing. So I believe what happened with the Riot MMO was the direction they were going got killed, but the Riot MMO did not get killed. It's just starting over.
Okay, yeah. So
it's like, I mean, which again, if you're talking about starting over as an MMO, it's going to take a long fucking time. So there's been games that have been released in Riot that have gone through that process 3 or 4 times and then have gotten made, right? but they're not willing to release something that isn't like exactly what they want.
Dude, actually, when you guys were talking about Fellowship not being monetized enough, that reminds me. You guys remember Legends of Runeterra, the Riot digital card
game
game?
was awesome.
Yeah, that game was sick. And the only problem with it is that it made $0 because they couldn't think of they made it so friendly with how you acquire cards and stuff that you just didn't feel the need to buy any, and there was no all the microtransactions. All you could make your board look or whatever. Nobody cared, right? So it's kind of slow dying, but that game was cool.
Wasn't that PoE kind of for a bit, is what I've heard, until we had enough supporters? Because that's why they had the supporter packs. Right?
Yeah, PoE, I think, has really pioneered the supporter pack model. And I think when you look at a game like PoE and you compare it to a game like Fellowship or Last Epoch is another ARPG that's similar to PoE, but the supporter packs are not cool. I love Last Epoch. I bought many of their supporter packs. I bought all their supporter packs basically every season because I want to support the development of the game. I think it's great. But they are, clunky looking microtransactions, right? They're much ugly. And then the PoE ones, every league, it's we've come up with an armor that, glows when you kill a god and makes hellfire rain from the skies and stuff. And you're like, oh my God, this is sick, right? And then you buy it. So
yeah,
I think that's one of the things where it's there are some games where you look at it and you're like, man, you guys got to invest more in making cool stuff for people to buy.
Yeah, one company is trying to have people support them and giving you a little something, and the other company is just selling badass skins.
Right. Yeah, and that's is that player friendly or player unfriendly? I don't know. I think if that lets you then, if you pay a bunch of artists to then make you 4 times as much money as you pay them or whatever, and then you use that money to develop a bunch of great content, I feel like that's a dub. I do think, though, that it is tough to directly compare that to WoW because, like you said, Dorky, it's not like it's their only means of revenue, where for PoE it basically is, right? For PoE, the game is free to play TM, where you do want to buy some stash tabs, but once you've done that, and even without doing that, if you really want to, you don't have to pay anything, and it's all cosmetics. Yeah, whereas WoW is clearly not that.
It also doesn't help that, when I think of some of these other games, not all of them are indie, but indie games, you think about the game developer and you're like, damn, this guy's been working hard for so long. I trust that his decision making is going to be making a good game and not trying to squeeze every penny out of you. And then when you think of Blizzard, at least for me, I just think of Bobby Kotick, even though he's not there anymore.
It's now it's Microsoft.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I don't have a face for Microsoft in my head, right? But I have Bobby Kotick's face in my head, and that's what I think of with WoW. And it's are they doing the greedy thing? And it's yeah, they might be doing the greedy thing because
it's also just their past, right? Obviously, if they had a good reputation and they've had good practices for the entirety of their 20 years or however many years, then it'd be all right, sure, I could believe Blizzard, but they've already fucked us so many times, especially in the recent years with delayed access, Brutosaur, etc., fucking buying gold. The list goes on.
Dorky hates the Brutosaur.
I mean, it's a fair thing to radicalize.
I bought that shit, man.
Yeah.
Bro, I spent more money in this game in the last year, or has it been a year? I don't even know. Yeah, it's probably about a year, than any other game out there in existence. I fucking spent $300 on WoW for the past year, which isn't much, but that's a lot to me, man. It's fucking ridiculous that I'm already paying a monthly sub and I bought the game so that I can have delayed access, so I can avoid delayed access, and I'm buying all this shit too. What the fuck?
Yeah.
I'm right there with you. When I think of Blizzard, I don't think of Kotick. I think of the devs that I know or have known there. I think of Skarsgård, although obviously he doesn't work there anymore, just like Kotick. But even
I mean, I'm sure those guys don't want this shit too, but you got to do what the boss man says.
Yeah, that's the thing is I don't know any of the new Kotick. I don't know any of the new executive-y people there. I just know the people that are, even the people like Ian or whatever, that are game devs first, executive second, in my mind at least. I think of them that way. But yeah, I mean, it is hard to square that with stuff like the early access and the Brutosaur. Those things do chip away at your faith in them.
I wonder for someone like Ian or how much of their conversations during the week are centered around monetization for the game.
It's got to be pretty low.
Yeah, it's very. I mean, I assume it's pretty low. I wonder whose job that is, or even if how much of that comes from above them. But it has to be someone's job that works on WoW, I guess. But I mean, as far as like how much profit they're expecting the game to make versus how much they're investing in it, that decision probably comes from above the World of Warcraft team and Blizzard, right? I assume.
Yeah, I imagine Ian is like involved because he's like in charge of a lot of the WoW stuff, right? So I imagine he is
Yeah, they can't.
involved in those
Someone
discussions
above
a lot.
WoW can't just be like, "Hey, make more money in the game." Like, you're gonna have a like eloquent conversation with someone who makes the game to be like, "Okay, like here's how we can possibly make this happen," and then like go over the options and stuff, right? Because every game's gonna make money with different ways with different things.
The way I see it is, it's probably similar to how I negotiate sponsor deals, where I like, they're asking me to like sponsor a game, and I'm like, sure, like, and they'll have like certain requirements, and I'll be like, okay, well, I'll see what the requirements more, like maybe they'll want me to just like stream the game, or maybe they'll want me to like have like a fucking bot and make sure I have like all these commands and shit, and make sure I'm like promoting on Twitter and YouTube, etc. It's like it's sort of a negotiation, I would imagine, where they try not to ruin their goddamn game. At the same time, they want to make sure the people who are giving them the fucking, I don't know, the overmind orders to be like, okay, make us the money. So I'm sure there's like some back and forth. That's my hope.
Yeah, they want people to like their game and they want to make cool shit.
Within any team, there's got to be some people that are like more in favor of doing this, and some people that are more against doing it, right? Like with each of these decisions, I'm sure. Yeah, but
yeah,
I mean, everybody that works
the
there,
people who want money, they don't give a shit about if the game is
well, that's the thing, right? You talk about like
money.
A company being scummy or whatever, trying to get money, but on each individual decision, how do you determine like, okay, this one is the greedy one that's just paying the shareholders, and this one is making the money that's keeping the game alive, right? It's like, well, it's kind of all doing both, right?
Well, yeah. Also, as long as an employee is making their salary and they like their job, like how much more money the game is making, they don't really care, right? They just want to make cool shit and have people like it, but they might be less likely to like it if it's like paywalled and now everyone's mad at the cool thing that they made, right?
Yeah. I mean, if you're in gaming, you typically don't want to be making stuff that everybody hates, right? You're typically like, you want to make cool stuff. And if you do want to make stuff that people hate and make a bunch of money off them, they have a building for Diablo Immortal at Blizzard that you can go and work at, right? So
yeah, you could throw all your ideas.
You could walk over there.
Is that game still around?
Oh yeah, it's I think it's one of their biggest money makers.
Oh yeah,
really?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm someone who will wail on a game like that every now and then, and I found that game, like, I like ARPGs, and I will wail on mobile games, and I found that game completely unappealing. So I actually am kind of surprised that it is doing well.
The problem with the game is it's actually such smooth, fun gameplay, but the monetization is just so aggressively evil, man. Like, I would so happily pay $60 for just like a monetization free version of that game, or more probably on my phone. That is exactly what I'd want to play on my phone. But man, it's just so impossible to play without being reminded that it's spending money time if you want to play.
Yeah, it's the worst of the worst.
Dude,
did you guys know that Diablo Immortal was nominated at the Game Awards for Best Mobile Game?
I didn't know that. No,
I'm not surprised.
In 2022.
That's incredible.
It must be one of the best then. L Mobile Games. Must be.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if a good mobile game ever comes out, I'll be so like one that I can actually like really enjoy. I think Torchlight Infinite has a mobile version. A lot of my guildies play that, but it's got really annoying monetization as well. It's like PoE, but yeah, it has a mobile version.
I was playing Battlefield with Ben, and Ben was like, because I did a sponsor deal for Torchlight not too long ago, or I mean, it was years ago now, but it was like kind of seemed whatever, but I didn't like pay too much attention to it. And he was like, yeah, that has like probably the second most depth in any ARPG besides PoE 1.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, that's so random. Like, how is that true? And I think you can play that on your phone. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's my guildies say the same thing, but then there's also like it's like got gacha style pets that give you power in the different forms of content. So not for me. I don't like that kind of thing. Dude, okay, you'll get a kick out of this, Max. PoE, this new league, by the way, they have they put in asynchronous trading where you can basically like, instead of having to whisper somebody to get an item, them invite you to your group, you go to their house, and then you open a trade, and then they trade you. Now you can just like, you see it on the website, you click a button, you teleport, and you buy it from like their vendor in their house. all without them needing to be there or anything. But
Oh wow.
yeah, so it's like a crazy quality of life improvement. PoE has historically been full of scams. Like you'd show up and somebody would put in a level 3 version of the level 4 gem that they were offering or whatever.
Yeah, that's a
and
classic.
this now, you teleport in and it'll highlight the thing, and the game will highlight the item that you're planning to buy, and it is the item that you clicked on, and the price like that is for sure. But what people are doing is they'll like list 50 maps or whatever, and 49 of them will cost 3 chaos orbs and 1 will cost 3 divine orbs. It's like if you walk into a store and they all, it's like, oh, these candy bars all cost 99 cents, and then one of them costs $99, and you like, if you touch it, you bought it. And that it's called land binding, and it's so funny. There's these clips of people just like going in and they just bought something for 10 times or 100 times the price they meant to.
That is
it's so good as well, because it's one of those things where like people are up in arms about, and they've just deployed a fix that now if you buy something of the same category and it's a different price, you get a warning now. So they basically fixed it, but it was really funny.
Does PoE have the same issue with, like, Diablo has this issue? Okay, so like I am playing and I have some cool items and I can like put them up for trade and make a bunch of gold, and then I can buy things I want like runes or other stuff. But everything's gold price is so inflated because of I am assuming bots, or I think it was
yes,
duping.
100%.
I think it was duping for a while. Like people were duping the runes you need to like craft Shaco and stuff, and then they're selling for like billions of gold, which is a completely ridiculous number. And basically I don't interact with trading because the market is so inflated by bullshit. Does that exist in PoE, or is it like,
yes.
So
it is a pretty big thing.
If you play, like you can play self-found, right, or trade. If you play trade, there's definitely like inflation of stuff that, especially now that there's asynchronous trade, now that there's a barrier removed, stuff is cheaper than it was last league in a lot of cases. That means that it's a little bit less of an exciting drop. On the other hand, you'll be able to sell it without having to invite somebody to your group, and so there's pros and cons. They did an interesting thing with gold though. You don't use gold to buy gold. So they added gold to the game after not having gold in the game for a really long time, and gold is this currency that you can only earn it by playing. It's not tradable. It's like the only thing in the game that is account bound instead of completely tradable, and you have to spend gold in addition to the actual stuff that you're exchanging with people. So it limits your ability. It actually limits the bot's ability to be able to trade a bunch of stuff, because you can't, if you try to trade, sit in your hideout and trade all day, you'll run out of gold. You need to go and actually play the game to get it. So they've got some clever ways to try and fix that problem you've identified, but it's certainly true that like for the longest time they didn't want to do exactly what they've done this league, and their stated reason was, we want there to be friction from when you trade stuff so that everything doesn't just like get liquidated down to currency and then individual drops lose their meaning. And that is a downside of doing it this way. I think the upsides outweigh, but some will disagree.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
Yeah, it's the main thing is just the landmine clips are so funny. It's so good, man. People.
Yeah, that's actually one of the quality of lives that I respect them for not adding, because like I always enjoyed that merchanting aspect of PoE too. Like it was actually a lot of fun, just like trying to find good items to buy, and like trying to like haggle down a deal, etc. Like that's always been the fun part
of
MMOs that I've missed for a very long time.
Dude, when somebody whispers,
I know, it's definitely not very
they whisper your item, you
like
you list it for 28 chaos orbs or whatever, and somebody's like 20 chaos orbs ? It's just like, man, like come on, dude. And you even can list things.
Sometimes they overprice that shit.
Yeah. I mean, it happens.
Yeah, haggling's extremely. Have you guys ever gone through the process of like, I mean, now it's so easy, you can like buy a car on your phone probably. Like, have you guys ever gone into a car dealership and negotiated for the price you will pay on a car?
No, but I've been present when my parents did once.
Dude, it sounds terrifying. How the fuck do you not get completely duped? There's too much information to know, and you're going up against someone who does this for a living. You're gonna get fucked. Like, I'm just so glad I've never had to do that.
Yeah.
But like our entire parents' generation prides themselves on like not getting fucked, but like they're probably definitely getting fucked.
Well, that's the thing, is that the dealers want you to leave thinking like you got a good deal, right? It's the same as like con men, right? They want you to think you scammed them.
Did you guys ever try to run the auction house in WoW ever?
I've done a few
not in
flips,
WoW, but in different games.
Like I've done a few, especially back in like BFA, where it's like, oh, this new patch is going to change, I think, the value of X or Y, or like, oh, I'm going to stock up on these consumables because I think they're cheap now, and I think they'll get more expensive when so and so happens. Or even when there's like infinite augment runes coming out, I'll buy or sell the augment runes based on, you know, how I think the price will move sometimes. But I don't do a lot of it. I've done that maybe 3 or 4 times over the past 5 years. I haven't done the like play the auction house thing that I know there's a section of the game that a section of people that like to do that.
Dude, I sold my old car today for I filled out, I sold it. Well, actually, I have no free ads. I sold it through a company, and I like basically filled out some information, uploaded the title to the car, like, or showed that I owned it, and I put in all the information. Took me probably 20 minutes. They showed up to my house 2 days later, inspected the car, and just fucking bought it right off my hands. Got a great deal on it, or so I think. I probably got scammed, just like you were just talking about, right? But like, that's like crazy. I feel like compared to what it had to have been in the past, right? Like listing that shit. Oh my god.
Yeah,
Well, I feel like it's probably fairly easy to like look that shit up online, right? To like have an idea of
Yeah,
what
but
the
then
market price is.
you have to literally haggle, bro.
Yeah.
Like back in the day. Get someone to come buy your car. We went on kind of a bit of a tangent. We were talking about ARPGs, talking about another ARPG, Fellowship, which people are often mistaking for not being an ARPG, which I think is actually one of the issues with people understanding. Like I see this in Twitch all the time. They're like, "Is this just new WoW? Is this like this is a new MMO? It looks like WoW." That game is not. I mean, I guess like technically an MMO is like any game you're playing with other people, but like you know what I mean when I say that. It's just Mythic Plus the ARPG, and like most ARPGs, they're having a reset coming up soon, right, Dorky?
Yeah. Well, they're gonna have a new season soon, which would mean a reset.
What is it? Yeah, have they gone into what that means? Like, are they wiping everyone's shit, or is it going to be like
Yeah, it's gonna be
Diablo?
a hard wipe. Straight up, you're starting over again.
There's no legacy because like Diablo. So I
Oh,
don't know if
actually,
you.
yeah, I don't know. I assume they probably will have
is there like a link to the
standard
roadmap or something?
server.
Oh yeah, upcoming content roadmap.
Yeah, hold on, let me see if I can find it.
Oh, they said they don't like roadmaps because it limits the spur of moment creativity. There's a Reddit comment here.
Yeah.
We know they
But
want
they
seasons
did
to be
have,
about
like,
4
some-
months long, and they've hinted that one new hero each season sounds reasonable.
Oh, ooh, new hero. Ooh, but they do you guys remember when Diablo came out for the first month? And then do you remember when they announced season 1 and they just got insane backlash from like couch dads that were
Yeah.
like, "You're telling me this character I'm playing right now isn't like my main character?" They just like totally don't get ARPGs.
Yeah, that shit was funny as hell.
Even though Diablo like literally, I don't know if they invented a lot of stuff in ARPGs, but popularized a lot more. I think seasons being a main one, and like character resets. So this game I assumed was going to happen. Did you say there was some fallback on that today, Dorky? Have people been
Yeah,
like,
so this was like the first one of the things I saw here.
Okay, let's see.
And there's like a whole lot more, but this was kind of funny.
Seasons are antithetical to Fellowship. Ooh, this is a controversial Reddit post. Currently sitting on, it's been downvoted down at 0.
Yeah, holy.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I definitely get like Max. You were saying that even just like playing an alt in Fellowship is a big grind, right? I don't know. I could see.
well,
I could imagine that.
no. So I just want to clarify. It's the so if you're like just starting in quick play or going through like adept and champion, I think a lot of people before they're like set on a character have played a lot of alts. So like someone will hear like the game is hard to alt and they'll be like, "What are you talking about? I logged on and made a new character and just instantly started playing a little bit." What I'm talking about is when you've gotten to the point where like Dorky and I are at, you're doing like 30 plus Eternals, even before this point, well before this point, where you realize the grind for like gems and socket essence bonus socket gear that you have to obtain to like actually get powerful. Once you start that road, you are never fucking doing that on another character. That's what we mean by like it's not really altable, because like you just look at the road. It's like what we were talking about with like the WoW upgrade system, right? It's like before they added like the Harbinger of the Gilded and stuff, people weren't really playing as many alts because it's like I'm not doing 150 dungeons, man. Like that's just
Yeah,
too
even
many
then,
dungeons.
it's still really rough in WoW because like that's exactly how I felt. You know how like we had this conversation in the past. Like I feel the same with WoW. In fact, I feel like it's even harder in WoW because you're not able to catch up on vaults and myth track pieces. Like if you're starting up a character right now as we speak, you're having to try and get like a fucking mythic antenna, the boots, a nether prism, and just like getting all these like myth pieces on top of farming like 500 or I don't even know how many crests it is. Like it's probably closer to like 1,000, right? If I were to take a random guess, and because of turbo boost. Yeah, it's just it's like that very much in Fellowship, except in Fellowship you can kind of grind it all out in one sitting. Like you could do like an entire week of just like gearing a character, and you'll probably be caught up. But it is a lot of work.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like an MMO's gearing model. But like you guys have said, Fellowship's an ARPG, right? Maybe it
Well,
shouldn't have that
ARPGs
much
are pretty
of.
similar too,
Yeah, I guess ARPGs do have
not
a
to that
long tail of
same
gearing,
extent.
but it's
This
weird
game
Yeah.
is
to combine that with like pushing keys because then to
Well, see,
push the
that's the
highest
thing, right?
keys,
Like,
you want.
you actually don't spend a lot of time pushing in this game, from my experience. You spend a lot more time just like progressing your character, and
it's
that's
literally
why
an
it
RPG.
feels more like an RPG.
It's
Yeah,
just it
like
is like
we've made. Have
the
we even really
DNA is
been
the same.
pushing Max? Like, not really. Like, we just kind of entered into higher keys, and like we're just checking them out. We've done like a little bit of progression. Like the only people that are like really pushing the keys are people like Yoda, and who's been streaming the game for like 15 hours a day minimum for like the past 2-3 weeks.
Okay, so I guess the question is, if there was a wipe and you got the opportunity to do that entire process again,
Oh, I'm locked the fuck in.
okay, that would be fun to do it to just
That would be
do a
amazing,
wipe with no new
bro.
content.
I would if there was a Fellowship wipe. It's the same thing as an ARPG where like actually I'm still really into the game right now. I would do it right now. But
Right.
there's Fellowship has a point where you're going to be like, okay, I'm chilling with this. I've done this enough. Maybe you'll put it down for a couple months, but when you pick it back up, you're going to be like, God damn, I want to play PoE, Diablo, Fellowship, same thing. It's the exact same feeling. Yeah, I'm gonna no life the fuck out of this game the next time there's a season drop.
But yeah, so they said their goal was to have a mid-December wipe,
Okay.
which kind of makes sense because like they're trying to push out content before the WoW,
Yeah, before midnight,
the
and
WoW
also
expansion
before
releases.
Christmas,
Yeah,
probably.
yeah, that too.
So here's the thing. I think for me, when there's a game or a game version I really like, I'd be hyped to the reset. Typically, even for me in PoE, there's been a couple of like mid-league events that have had these wipes, and I've only played like one or two of them in the leagues that I've really liked. Typically, I'm like, okay, this is fun, but I don't want to do it again. I'll wait until the new league with the new content. So I think for Fellowship, I imagine even if you guys are hyped to run it back, I think a lot of people would be like, okay, we need there to be a bunch of new stuff to justify a wipe existing, right?
Yeah, there definitely needs to be new stuff.
Are they not planning on like having some kind of seasonal thing?
I imagine they are.
Like,
it's just a question of like what would be enough for people, right? Like, is it enough to do a new dungeon and a new hero? Or does it need to be more? Like, do you need a more aggressive seasonal set of changes?
I mean, right now, I would run back basically the exact same game right now. That'd be fucking awesome.
Yeah, I would agree.
But yeah, I think there is definitely some expectation on new dungeons. They said they can churn up new dungeons pretty quick, is what they said. Like they feel pretty confident doing that. And then also one new character a season is definitely that's I'm actually really surprised they said. Did they say that they
I think they said that would be good or cool or something. Not like we are
Yeah,
planning
because
to
like
do that.
I don't know. I'm just fast forwarding like this game already has a decent amount of like things you can play. I'm just thinking like 3 years from now, let's say Fellowship's great. Every 4 months there's a season, bro. There's gonna be a lot of fucking classes in this game. Like, and
I mean, it'll be like any of those hero games, hero shooters, MOBAs.
Yeah, except they're coming up with a new WoW spec
Yeah,
every 4 months.
I mean, that's
kind
cool
of
as
fucking
fuck if they're
crazy.
but yeah.
dude, I bet it's the thing in WoW where it's like, oh man, it's the start of Dragonflight, everybody's playing Evoker, right? It's the start of Midnight, everybody's playing a Devourer or Demon Hunter. I wonder how bad that'll be in Fellowship.
I actually wonder how many classes, DPS classes, you can make like that in Fellowship before they start to feel the same. Because a lot of them right now are very similar. They have like one defensive. They have That like their cooldowns are usually exactly 1 minute. They have everyone has like an ult. It's all like, but the way that the way they play feels very different. I wonder how many times you can do that before something feels like something else. Basically,
I think as long as if you take ideas from other genres as well, like if they take ideas like kind of like Invoker is kind of similar to what Mako is from Dota, and if they just keep doing more unique ideas outside of just WoW, on top of like having customization for the characters, like say there are new legendaries for these characters every season, like that's really fucking cool. Or like say there's like some new gem system on top of whatever we have right now. Like there are a lot of things they can do every season to make the game super fresh and unique.
I do think they should probably, I mean, again, I haven't played, but I suspect there are going to be a lot of people who would want to, like, the MMO style grind, and then losing your character is, I think there would be an appetite from a lot of people for an eternal realm like there is in ARPGs, but I think it would get more use in Fellowship probably than it does in PoE and Diablo, where it's pretty dead for high end players. Like that's the couch dads playing in Eternal, right? But not.
Yeah, I do not know a single person that plays an out of season character in Diablo. That would be crazy.
Yeah.
but you know what? If there's some statistic that comes out and it says
80% of players are playing
more than
Eternal.
50, more than 50% of players play on Eternal Realms, I'd be like, wow, that's crazy. But also, I'm not
that
surprised.
Would be crazy.
It's like the stat that Diablo 4, the more than half of Diablo 4 players do not play the game past completing the campaign.
Right.
Which is like fucking insane. That's insane.
Well, that's kind of me. What the hell? That's not that insane.
Bro, that is insane. That is, I mean, for someone like me and Dratnos, that is exactly when the game starts.
Yeah.
The campaign is purely a means to an end.
Actually, the Diablo campaign is kind of, it was kind of cool. It was fun. I liked it, but I only did it once, and I'm so glad you don't have to do it multiple times. Dude, that's the worst part about PoE is you have to do the campaign every single season. I feel like there will be people who feel that way about Fellowship initial gearing up maybe as well.
Yeah, sort of. I mean, I do see some comments that are like, "Oh, I don't want to play with no talents again."
Right? Yeah.
But I mean, honestly, like you're kind of just playing the game.
With people you enjoy, it's you're owning.
I think
that's
yeah, especially when everyone is playing at the same time.
As we've discovered,
that's always the fun part about fresh seasons.
Playing with a group of your friends is like a crazy hack to make any game fun, right? That's Fellowship. They need to come up with something that'll be fun, even for people that are, solo queuing it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, dude, we've been yapping for a long time about a lot of these things. You guys want to do the Patreon question? Then we can see if there's any of the other stuff, but let's do the Patreon question. Let's do it. I'm unilaterally deciding.
I do think the 9 million player thing is pretty interesting, so we can talk about that too.
Okay. We'll do that one. Let's do that one now, and then we'll do the Patreon question because it is kind of relevant to this stuff. So yeah, basically there was what exactly is the context for this 9 million number? Because I've seen a couple of posts about it, but I haven't fully read them.
Basically, there was a French concert or some shit. It was like an official concert where they like
that's so random.
They accidentally announced that, like, I don't know if it's like an accident or whatever, but they somewhat mentioned that there were 9 million concurrent players.
Wow.
Which doesn't mean 9 million subs. Like that could mean like, say maybe 7 million subs and like 2 million trial players, or just like maybe people, I don't know, like however.
I'm gonna go 98% subs.
There's probably a good amount of people.
If you're like 14 years old, you're running a new trial account every month and playing for free.
Oh man,
that's some chunk of people. Maybe I did that when I was.
Either way, like basically, apparently there's a shit ton of people playing right now, and that's not including China as well. And ever since China's came back, they've been popping the fuck off. So like they've been popping off in M+. I don't know if you guys have seen, but like they're hard dominating the leaderboards in terms of like numbers of players and shit. And there was that whole when they had the Wrath of the Lich King, right, where the Warcraft logs person, Kira, whatever, talked about how this is probably the most. Well, let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, it was like the most traffic or whatever through Warcraft logs.
Yeah, which is kind of insane. Like here it was.
Yeah, 80 million 800 million Old War RCN.
Yeah, which is just
rankings.
Fucking insane. And 11 million characters with Uldar logs. That's just Uldar logs, right? That's not including retail. That's not including just like people who aren't raiding at all. Now, obviously, there are like a bunch of people who are like alts and shit too, but that is an insane fucking number.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, so
Yeah, so this,
if you compare it back to the peak of WoW, right? Like the Wrath of the Lich King peak, that was, I think, a similar order of magnitude. It was like 11 million, but that included China, so maybe a little bit less than when you include China now. But it is worth noting that there's multiple versions of WoW now, and there weren't back then, right? So
right.
retail is probably like, obviously your sub gets you access to all of them, but the people who only play retail is probably, or people who even at all play retail is probably, I don't
Like
know,
a
5
fraction
mil
of
or
that,
something.
honestly.
5 of those 9,
Yeah.
maybe.
I mean,
Something
like,
like that?
yeah, if we include China, like, I would imagine this game probably has like at least 20 million subs if I would just give like a crazy number. And that sounds ridiculous, but at the same time, we kind of don't see all of that because of how spread out the entire community is, right?
Right.
Whether it's where they're yapping about the game, like, you know, you have people who are talking about it on like YouTube, Reddit, the WoW forums, Twitch channels, Bilibili, and they're all playing different versions of the game, right? Like the game is just extremely split into multiple different categories, like you mentioned, Dratnos. There's Remix right now. I mean, there's like what, at least like 4 or 5 versions.
Yeah.
Actually, there's probably more, right? Hardcore WoW, MOP,
Yeah, I mean, technically
Classic,
Season of Discovery, Classic Era, and stuff, but
Season of
a
Discovery,
lot of
yeah,
those modes are pretty low
kind of
population
meshed
now,
together,
right?
yeah.
Like those are a lot more niche. I think it's like retail and MOP, and then I guess technically Legion, but Legion Remix players are all retail players, I think, mostly, or nostalgia returners. But I think that's pretty small because Remix is pretty different than
Yeah, it's very
real
different.
WoW.
I can't. I really consider Remix its own thing. I can't really consider it retail.
But it's only like a couple months long. I don't know. It's not.
Also seems kind of ARPG esque.
Yeah.
Yeah,
in some ways.
Very ARPG in terms of how the gameplay feels. Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, the game is probably the biggest it's ever been. But I mean, at the same time, it doesn't really mean a whole lot in 2025 because 20 million players now is kind of like a drop in the bucket compared to what it was 15 years ago or so. Because like back then, there weren't nearly as many gamers. In
Right.
fact, I believe like Steam had some statistics where there's like what, like 100 times more players now. I'm just making up some random number. I don't remember what it was, but like there are way more gamers now than ever before, and so
Yeah.
there are just like a lot less WoW players comparatively.
Yeah, I mean, it was also like WoW was culturally a lot more significant back then, right? It was just like the
Yeah.
best game in the world, and also it's just like there's never been anything like this, right? So I think that now it's like gaming is so much more niche and varied and specific.
Mm-hmm. But still, it's nice to see that WoW's doing well. Always.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, in that spirit, here's our Patreon question this week. So this one comes from Leon, and it says, if you could bring one back to WoW from previous versions, what would it be? I assume they mean like one feature or one thing back to WoW from previous versions.
That would be more interesting.
There's a noun
than-
missing here. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
If you could bring back one thing to WoW from previous expansions, what would it be? Let's just treat it like that.
yeah, I like that question. I think let's see. The easy answer is probably Mage Tower. That's like a slam dunk high approval rating thing to say.
Is Dorki gonna say artifact power?
Dorky's gonna say reforging.
Well, let's see. There's like multiple options. I would say one of the spicy ones would be Titan Forging. I'm a big fan of that.
Corruption.
Another spicy one would be Corruption. Yeah. Uncapped AoE. I mean, that one's an easy one. Like, just fucking bring that back.
I like that as an answer. Yeah. Add-ons.
Yeah, we bring back add-ons. Yeah. We gotta bring back add-ons.
Bring back the thing that I miss the most is the Archimond radar weak aura. Yeah. I miss it. Garrisons.
I don't know, man.
Oh, war fronts. We need those back. It's been too long. Actually,
People,
you're going to need to do some war fronts for your furniture, by the way. So get in there, get those marks of honor.
Shit.
people have said in the past, whenever this question comes up, they're like glyphs, bro. I remember when I had to socket glyphs into my character. And isn't that has to be pure nostalgia, right? Like that
Yeah.
glyphs were the most like nothing system.
Yeah, I think the promise of the customization of glyphs was never really realized. It was like,
I mean, it's just like a talent point now.
yeah,
That's just what it is.
Yeah.
Right? It's just got built into that.
Hmm.
Covenants.
Well, they had more visual parts to them, didn't they?
Some,
Glyphs?
yeah, they're
Well,
but like those, a lot of those cosmetic glyphs are still in the game.
they're there now.
Yeah, that's what they are
like,
now.
There are glyphs. Yeah.
Okay,
You want
yeah,
like
sure.
a flaming trail when you charge or whatever. Although all of them are pretty not super visually impactful. I guess like Glyph of the Stars is. That's the Moonkins in star form instead of Moonkin form.
I don't have a great answer. I don't know.
I got one from playing Legion Remix. The world quests where it's just kill one dude. God, those are such fun world quests to do. They were so much better
Yeah.
than the Shadowlands world quest that were like 4 quests in one to do. I know there's not a lot of reason to do world quests anymore, and I'm for that, but like the reasons that there are ones, they should put back in the kill one dude world quest. Those are great. More of them.
Actually, is it just me? I swear it feels like casual content nowadays has a whole lot more of like all these objective things that you have to do. Like, oh, go over here and like
Yeah.
pick up this shit, or like do this. Like, why can't it just be go over here and just kill something?
Yeah, I have really enjoyed, dude, Legion Remix as well. Like the experience of the emissary quest, and then it's like you get an emissary that's like, oh, you have the wardens and you have High Mountain, and you go to High Mountain and you do 2 world quests that are wardens quests in High Mountain, and you're like, this is the best, most efficient thing that's ever been done. I'm
Yeah,
gaming.
it's like the Stranglethorn Veil feeling
Yes.
of like turning in 20 quests at the same time.
100%. Yeah, so
Yeah.
bring that back, but also don't tie it to any power level or anything. Just bring it back for funsies. Yeah. All right.
Yo.
I can feel us running out of gas here, so that's gonna be it. That's gonna be it for the PoddyC this week. We'll be back next week for another PoddyC, because that's what we do. We do one every week, except for the weeks where we don't do one. But hopefully we do one next week. We'll see you then.
Yes.
Bye.
Buy our merch.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Buy our merch. Yes, you have to.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I nearly forgot. Oh wow. I'll record some. Frank, don't worry. I'll record something you can put in the front for buy our merch. Don't worry, buddy. All right, GN.